Hello and welcome back to the Veterans Corner. My name is Chuck Wooden and I'll be your host for this show. For those that are new to the Veterans Corner, it's a show dedicated to our veterans, their families, and to all those who support the veteran families, the veteran community. Our topic today, actually we're doing a two-part segment. If you missed the first one, you can always catch that on Nutmeg TV online. But this is part two. We have with us, as I go to my notes, Eastern Seals, Capital Region, and Eastern Connecticut. I always have to read that out and take a look at it. But we have to my right, we have retired Brigadier General Ron Welch. He's the Vice President of Military Services. And to my far right, we have Captain Lori Marriott. She's the Director of Military Services and Philanthropy. Did I say it right this time?
Yes, you did.
The first time I said it. Don't ask me to say it again, Laura. Welcome to the show. It's great to have you guys back. The first show was a very informative show. Like I said, if you missed that, you can always catch that on Nutmeg TV online. But we're going to leave off. Actually, let's talk about your military background again. Tell us what branch you were in, when you served, and maybe just a little bit about it.
Okay, so Chuck, I started out in 1978 right out of East Lyme High School. I did the Airborne Ranger enlistment option. Started out as a private, went out to Fort Lewis, Washington. Served out there for 4 years. Had an opportunity to do a lot of deployments, go to a lot of military schools, and serve with a real elite crowd of folks. Unfortunately, I was injured in a parachute accident in line of duty and ended up being medevaced and ended up eventually back here after some significant rehabilitation. Eventually went to Officer Candidate School, joined the Connecticut National Guard, served in a bunch of different command and staff positions, had an opportunity to do about 40 military schools total. And you know, people kind of pulled me along, and I was able to retire as a one-star general officer back in July of 2017. I was also able to deploy to Afghanistan for a year. It was quite an experience. What made it really a unique experience is my oldest son, I didn't know when I deployed, was going to also deploy, so I ended up spending some time with him during his deployment. He ended up going back a few years later on a second deployment also.
I was going to ask you that in the first show, if you guys did run into each other. That's great. Lori.
Hi, Chuck. So I started out in ROTC through the Providence College ROTC program back in 1988. And I served for 4 years on active duty. I went to airborne school, parachute rigger school, and I was a quartermaster officer, which is supply and logistics. And I did very little of that in the time that I served. I was an executive officer for most of my time in Italy. I was responsible for Tent City during Desert Storm, so all units that were deploying from the United States into the theater of operation had to come through Camp Darby first, and my job was to make sure they had a cot, a pillow, 3 hots, yep, exercise, movies, whatever we could do to keep them happy before they deployed into the war zone.
Like I said, the first show, very, very impressive resumes for both of you. And on behalf of the Veterans Corner, the viewers, thank you very, very much for your service. You know, the first show, we talked a lot about what Eastern Seals, Capital Region, Eastern Connecticut does for the veterans. As far as service officers, that type of stuff. Rally Point, we touched on a little bit. We left off with some impact and success stories, and we ran out of time. I know there's a few more that we could talk about. You care to share any more?
Sure. Yes, Chuck. I'd love to share with you about a single mom, combat veteran. She has been homeless since getting off of active duty. She was in the Navy. She was a corpsman. She has been homeless 4 times since she got off of active duty. She came to meet Beth a couple of years ago at Rally Point, and Beth started working with her. We got her some housing. Actually, recently we moved her into better housing because the situation was not that great. And actually, that was Ron's first week at Rally Point. I think he was with us for a day. And this is an example of how resilient we are as a staff, falling under Beth on her team. If there's something to be done, we get up and we do it. She got the call that this veteran needed to move from a not safe situation with her 3 children, and Beth said, "What do we do now?" So we just jumped in our vehicles and off we went, and we moved this female veteran and her 3 children from Waterbury to a new home in Bristol.
Yeah.
It was Ron's second day of work. So now this gal, we worked with her to get her resume put together. Got her into the VA system, which she had been fighting to do for a while. Didn't want anything to do with the VA.
Yep.
So I told her, I will go with you to your appointment, and I will stay at that VA hospital. I'll hold your children on my knee and while you're in on your appointments, and I did exactly that. We got her an interview for a job. She did not have childcare at the time, which is a huge barrier for any veteran right now. I would say the #1 barrier for them moving forward, whether it be in their career, in their lives, being able to afford their home, is childcare. Yeah. So I watched her kids. She went in for a job interview, got the job, and she is now working full circle. She's working with Easter Seals through one of our agencies underneath Easter Seals umbrella. So she came to us for her initial services. We helped her with just about every service we have, including car repairs. So she had some emergency financial assistance. And now she's on her own and she's working this job, full-time job now.
Big success story.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And to see this woman, she's thriving now.
Yeah, and the rewarding, I mean, that's got to mean a lot to you.
Yeah, you really do. You start to build relationships yourselves. You know, we have just working with the veteran one-on-one ourselves, it becomes a peer-to-peer support, is really what it is. We also worked with one other female veteran. She was a Navy veteran with 2 children. She was widowed. Her husband was also a veteran who is one of the statistics. He committed suicide. And you're hearing now the statistics are 22 a day, veterans committing suicide.
That's extremely low.
It's
not
another
accurate.
whole show.
Yeah,
there's some mixed information on that, but she came to Rally Point. She needed some help with her resume, finding a job. She needed repairs on her car. We helped her through. We did some mentorship with her. She now has a job, and she and her children are now allowed to stay in their own home because they can pay their bills now.
That's great.
So it's another really great story.
Went from a time in their life where they probably thought there was no hope, and you guys stepped in and showed her different.
And it's interesting too, Chuck, is that the women that I've worked with, it's very difficult for them to ask for help.
Yeah.
And I've said to them, think about the lesson that you're teaching your children by showing that it's okay to ask for help when you're down and out and you're in a bad place. It's not going to be forever. It's just temporary.
That's pretty much the general case for all veterans. All veterans, they don't want to, the pride. They don't want to ask for help.
Yep.
But once they do, they were glad that they did. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, there's a lot that still don't, and they're tough to get to.
And we're looking for them.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a lot of homeless veterans out there that, that pride. They don't want the help. In over the years, I've actually dealt with some homeless veterans, and that's the case that I found. It's probably not all the time, but those success stories are definitely. It's got to make you feel good, when you go home. Mm-hmm. You were referring to Beth, and just for the viewers, Beth Pritchard is the Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer for Easter Seals, Capital Region, Eastern Connecticut. And Beth has been on this show at least 3 times. At least 3 times she's been on Veterans Corner. She couldn't make it here tonight. So I just want to let the viewers know who Beth is, and to give her a little shout out. Let her know we're thinking of her.
We are blessed to have her as our boss.
Yeah.
She has a tremendous amount of vision, and her whole words that she shares with us all the time is, got to teach them how to fish, And we're not a handout, we're a hand up.
Yeah.
So help those that are struggling, pull them forward.
And take
Give
them by the
resources
hand.
they need.
Yeah.
Take them by the hand.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, it's paying off.
And Beth has given each of us on the team, there's 4 Army veterans that are on her team right now. She has given each of us that chance, that opportunity to be a part of this amazing organization.
Is it biased to just Army veterans or could
Nope.
Navy veterans?
We're looking, we've got a Navy guy that we're speaking with right
Okay.
now, actually.
Okay, I just have to throw that in there, being a Navy veteran.
I know.
I was going to go up and see Beth maybe, in a week or 2, but I didn't know if I was allowed in the building.
You are, indeed you are.
As we continue to expand our footprint, we will have representatives from all services.
Yeah.
That is one goal that we do have.
Yeah, and that's good. I mean, I know that the vision that you guys have, that Beth has, you as a team, I'm really looking forward to seeing it at the end, where everything has come to fruition and everything is in place.
If you build it, they will come.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that ride out to Norwich one of these days.
It'd be great, we'd love to have you.
The success stories, we could probably go on, but let's move on. We got some other topics. Where do you provide, actually, the rally point services? Where do you provide them? I know it's not just Norwich. It's
Right. So we're in all the college and university Oasis centers. We go out to those centers. We actually we cycle through Connecticut, Rocky Hill Department of Veteran Affairs. We're down there working an employment initiative to try to help veterans that are there find jobs. We go into homeless shelters. And the biggest area that we've been spending a lot of time are in the coffee houses.
yeah.
Some of the coffee houses will have 70 to 80 veterans in the audience. So big impact there as far as sharing.
I'm
our
going to my
experiences
first
and
one as we
services.
discussed on the
You'll
19th.
enjoy that.
You really will.
So, and Chuck, if I could just spend a couple minutes talking about the build out and what's going to be in Norwich. Okay.
Absolutely.
We provide the basic services there now. That $2.5 million grant we were awarded last July. As we talked about during the last show, we're looking for contractors, and it will go out to bid soon, to do the design build. So the architect, they design it and they build it. Within that footprint, it's going to be 18,000 square feet. We will have a fitness center. We'll have a commercial grade kitchen that we can teach nutrition classes. Laura used to have a nutrition business. Teach nutrition classes, prepare meals for our big events that we want to host there. So commercial grade kitchen, we want a fitness center, we want to have a climbing wall. We'll also have some adaptive equipment for those that are struggling physically so they can get some kind of a workout in. A big thing that Beth wants us to invest a lot of resources in is called makerspace. And within the makerspace, a veteran will be able to come in or a family member and do something with their hands and walk away with maybe a little project, possibly leather craft, pottery, woodworking, maybe a 3D printer, or some kind of graphic arts. That's our vision, to have them be able to go in and do something and be able to take it away. We may also have a little social enterprise where we can maybe sell some small products that veterans produce there. Peer-to-peer support, we'll continue to do that. We'll have a big computer lab. We already have a clothing locker now. We can provide professional clothing for our veterans that come in that are going for job interviews, and we have the food pantry, of course.
Yeah.
Did I miss anything, Lori, within
that's
the
it.
build-out?
That's it.
Now, the build out, all that's, we're talking about down in Norwich, right?
Right,
Yeah.
correct.
And right now, the peer-to-peer is held in Windsor?
We rotate around.
Okay.
We want to be able to help, make it easy enough for all veterans to
Yep.
be able to get there. So we'll have one month it'll be in Windsor, 1 month it'll be
All over the
Norwich.
state. All over the state, so it's available to everybody.
Exactly. Yeah. And if they can't get there, that's where the Facebook groups, closed groups, come in to play. Is people from all over the place can come
Yeah.
and be a part of it.
Yeah, it's how is all this funded?
Well, it's entirely philanthropy funded,
Yeah.
Chuck. Your favorite
You
word.
just asked me to say that word again, aren't you?
You looked at me and I thought you were going to try it again.
I was going to, and I says, you know what? I'm going to quit while I'm ahead.
So we receive money donations from various sponsors, too many to name, and I wouldn't want to forget
Yeah.
anybody, but we have some major donors from major corporations. We have family members, people leaving legacy gifts in honor of loved ones that have passed away. We have that both in our regular day support program, maybe a family member of somebody who was in one of our day support programs for 30 years. We have some people that have been coming for that long, and a parent will donate money to us as a legacy. We're looking to do that same kind of thing for our veterans. Just the everyday person is donating, and we also
Stepping
do a
up.
lot through events. Our
Events
events
are key.
is a big way that we bring in proceeds for all of our programs. And some of our events, are we going down to events now? Can we speak about events?
If you want to go into it, yeah. I know you have one very large one
We
coming
have
up.
a huge event coming up this month, March
Yep.
30th. It is our 32nd annual Crystal Ball, and it is our main fundraiser that we do annually. And it's big. It's at the Hartford Marriott. And here is the website for anyone that may be interested in learning more about this major event. It's veteransrallypoint.com/crystalball2019. And people come out in gowns and black tie. There'll be many veterans and military there as well. There's a little bit of a veteran theme that goes
Yep.
on there. We have Invest in a Vet, where people can raise their paddle during the live auction, and they can have money donated, and it'll be restricted funds strictly going to our Veterans Rally Point.
Wow, nice.
We also do a huge live auction as well as a silent auction that evening.
I know that's a massive event.
Live band from
Live
us.
band, yes, it really is
Great
amazing.
food, great
I
drinks.
know there's a lot of. That's where a lot of your funding comes from, is that event. I know we've talked about that in the past. Last year, and then of course a little bit. I think it was Beth and myself were talking about it leading up to this year. It's certainly, if you want to read that, in case you missed the website.
Here it is again.
Yeah.
It's veteransrallypoint.com/crystalball2019.
Yep. So
And you can get more information on the ball. You can order tickets there if you're interested in coming and joining us. It's a great evening out for a wonderful cause.
It's right down there by the Children's Center, Science
It's the
Center.
Hartford Marriott.
Yep. It's down by the water.
Beautiful.
So that I wasn't able to make it last year, and I don't think I'll be able to make it this year. But hopefully one of these years I will make it
That would
there.
be great. We'd love to have you.
But what else do you have going on since we're on that topic?
Well,
We're doing
we
a
have.
caregiver retreat. too.
Well, we're going to be having another caregiver retreat. We're going to be doing those quarterly. We had our first one on February 23rd. It's a free event from 9 to 2 on a Saturday. We'll be doing it probably in July, coming up in July. We have our Run and our Ruck. It's called United We Run and Ruck, and it's out in this area here. It's going to be at Winding Trails in
Yep.
Farmington.
Right down the street.
It's a 5K trail race, and people that choose to come with a ruck, they fill their rucksack with non-perishable food items, and they donate them to our Veterans Food Pantry. So that is on September 14th. It's a Saturday morning, and we have all sorts of sponsors and donors that donate food. We have an amazing food fest and music after the 5K. So even if you're not a runner, we'd love for you to come on out and
Yeah.
have some fun. It's a beautiful venue,
Yeah. Winding Trails is. It's
really
Yeah.
beautiful.
yeah. One second. Let's see. Is there anything else that's going to be going on? You got 5 minutes.
Here.
That's coming up in September.
September 14th.
September 14th. Is there any other fundraisers that are coming up besides that? That you have planned so far?
Nope, not at this time. We
Yeah.
just wrapped up our 37th annual volleyball tournament this past weekend in Windsor. It was at Loomis Chafee, and it was both on Saturday and Sunday, and it was the biggest turnout we've ever had. 61 teams came. And it was amazing competition, everything from recreational volleyball players all the way on up to college grads, and I would say probably semi-pro on Sunday afternoon.
Wow.
It's wonderful.
You know, one of the things that we discussed when Beth has been in here in the past is that I learned so much about what Easter Seals does. There's a tremendous amount that you do for veterans. I mean, a lot of people didn't realize that. I go around telling people, and they're shocked, really. And it's, you know, once again, that's what this show's designed for, is to try to get the word out. Exposure. I mean, the crystal ball on the 30th of this month. Just so we're clear on the year 2019.
Yes.
We don't know if this is going to be shown next year again, which sometimes it is, but we want to make sure it's March 30th, 2019. And I mean, that I was shocked when I found out about it. It's just something we don't hear, and I'm in the veteran community.
Exactly.
So
We have our work cut out for us.
yeah. Let's jump in. Tell our viewers about the rally point. Is there anything more about the rally point down in Norwich that we haven't covered?
Just it's a very comfortable environment to come into. You know, we've got some very nice furniture. Some was recently donated to us. We, again, low-key approach. We don't, hey, you have 15 minutes and the appointment's over.
Yeah.
So we welcome those veterans and their families that need some kind of assistance. Just come by and see us in a non-threatening, totally confidential setting. We'll work with you.
Yeah.
It's amazing what just sitting down, having eye contact, and talking to a person can do. We had a veteran recently that was extremely distressed to the point where we thought we were going to have to, make some phone calls and get him a different level of assistance. And we said, hey, you're close by. Can you just come by and, or we'll come to you. And he came by, and probably within an hour, I would say, we had him settle down. We had him develop with us kind of a path forward.
Yeah.
He was very confused, really overwhelmed. Some significant life changes were going to happen to him that he didn't anticipate happening. So we were able to kind of get a hold
And he left with some tools.
Yeah.
He left and he was calm after that. Yeah, it was just the simplest thing.
Yeah.
I say the greatest gift you can give someone these days really is your time.
Yeah. Exactly.
Just a listening ear or a kind word.
And like you said before, the pride thing. A lot of people don't want to ask for help. We had another veteran in recently. He came in with a family member, and he had been to another location, and they gave him like a little bag of food, and we're like, literally had nothing. We're like, well, let's make a list of what you need, and took him down the hall and to our food pantry and just loaded him up with 3 or 4 boxes of food.
Well, I hate to do this, but we got about 30 seconds left.
Okay.
And so, I mean, we can keep going. I mean, I know that you guys have so much more info, and I know that you'll be back. I'll be in touch with Beth, and you'll definitely be back sometime in May. We'll do the show on women veterans.
Thank you.
Always welcome here to hang out and watch the shows here firsthand. So with that being said, I know I'm going to get cut off real fast here. So want to thank you again for being here. It was great two segment series here.
Your time.
And this isn't goodbye. We'll definitely have you guys on again. And there's so much to talk about. There's so much that you guys do at Easter Seals. Capital Region in Eastern Connecticut. So With that being said, that's all the time we have. I want to thank the guests again for being here and the viewers for joining us. I'm Chuck Wooden. See you next time on the Veterans Corner. Good night.